You could really hear it. You could really hear the conviction coming from Joe Brandon. Bro, that is like that is George Orwell, okay? I mean, I'm sorry. I feel like that's a bar directly ripped from 1984. I'm saying it. No, we're not going to do Clementine yet. I haven't even covered all the stories I wanted to cover. We got to do Joe. We got to do Jim Crow Joe and what he had to say, okay? Yeah, but how do you feel about Kendrick? You'll hear it in a second. Let's go to Jim Crow Joe for a second, okay? Let's take it back to what truly matters. Jimothy Crow Joe. I'm gonna pee.
President Biden.
A few moments about what's going on our college campuses here. We've all seen the images, and they put to the test two fundamental American principles. Excuse me. The first is the right to free speech and for people to peacefully assemble and make their voices heard. The second is the rule of law. Both must be upheld. We are not an authoritarian nation where we silence people or squash dissent. The American people are heard. In fact, peaceful protest is in the best tradition of how Americans respond to consequential issues. But neither are we a lawless country. We are a civil society, and order must prevail. Throughout our history, we've often faced moments like this because we are a big, diverse, free-thinking, and freedom-loving nation. In moments like this, there are always those who rush in to score political points. But this isn't a moment for politics. It's a moment for clarity. So let me be clear. Peaceful protest in America. Violent protest is not protected. Peaceful protest is. It's against the law when violence occurs. Destroying property is not a peaceful protest. It's against the law. Vandalism, trespassing, breaking windows, shutting down campuses, forcing the cancellation of classes and graduations. None of this is a peaceful protest. Threatening people, intimidating people, instilling fear in people is not a peaceful protest. It's against the law. Dissent is essential to democracy, but dissent must never lead to disorder.
That was a banger line. The dissent must never lead to disorder is like directly ripped from, I feel like it is a direct like Donald Trump line if Donald Trump could get that poetic. You know what I mean? This is like dissent must never lead to disorder is just straight up 1984 shit, okay? Oh yeah, this is a great take from Lesby Writes. Rosa Parks was supposed to be in the back of the bus by law, and she said, no, I will sit in the front. She violated the law, and that law was supposed to be in the back of the bus by law, and she said, no, I will sit in the front. She violated the law, and that law was unjust, which is why she should have sat in the back of the bus. Don't forget, I also said that I don't want my children growing up in the racial jungle of desegregated America. That's why I, as a Democratic senator from the great state of Delaware, did all I could to stop forced busing from occurring. That's right. That's not Rosa's bus. Get off the bus, Rosa. Rosa, get off the bus. You better go back to the back of the bus, Rosa. Don't do it now. Don't do the Montgomery bus sit-ins for 300 plus days. Dissent must not cause disorder. It is the law, after all. Are you reading something, Asmont? No, I'm not. I'm preaching to the choir over here. Everybody knows. I, Jim Crow Joe, looked at the civil rights movement and I bravely and boldly declared, don't do it. Or if you're gonna do it, don't do it in a way that causes disorder.
Or to denying the rights of others so students can finish the semester and their college education. Look, it's basically a matter of fairness. It's a matter of what's right. There's the right to protest, but not the right to cause chaos. People have the right to get an education, the right to get a degree, the right to walk across the campus safely without fear of being attacked. But let's be clear about this as well.
Yeah, no, that's right. Which is why we should kill the students who are being attacked in order to save them, of course. Let me tell you, Jack, the chancellor of UCLA said it best. When the beautiful, brave, bold defenders of Israel stormed the disgusting, anti-Semitic, pro-Palestinian tents in the encampment, as those students were dancing and singing Kumbaya, the brave defenders of Israel stormed that encampment and beat the shit out of those students. And I thought to myself, that's wonderful, but we got to bring in the state.
There should be no place on any campus, no place in America for anti-Semitism or threats of violence against Jewish students.
I mean, he ain't wrong. The problem is, that's not what's going on in these campuses, or at least in the encampments.
There is no place for hate speech or violence of any kind, whether it's anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, or discrimination against Arab Americans or Palestinian
Oh, yeah, I remember
Americans.
this. Oh, my God, I'm so glad someone found this. Yeah, he was also, at least he was consistent. He was anti-Vietnam War protest, too. Look, this was Biden's perspective during the anti-war protest in Vietnam. He professed a lack of moral outrage at the war. He described walking through campus with law school friends one day and seeing other students occupying office buildings in protest. Why do you support anti-Semitism? So did any of the officials get prosecuted in Turkey after World War I for the Armenian genocide? Bro, the funniest thing is Israel defenders coming in here to tell me that I deny the Armenian genocide. Bro, your government denies the Armenian genocide, okay? What the fuck are you talking about? You're talking to a Turkish guy who doesn't deny the Armenian genocide in an effort to defend a government that literally does. Israel does not acknowledge the Armenian genocide. Fuck you mean? Anyway, like, why do you think that's a good talking point for you? Anyway, both your governments deny it technically. Yeah, the difference is I don't dick ride the Turkish government in the way that that asshole is dick riding the Israeli government. Do you understand the point? Anyway, they were taking over the building, Biden said. And we looked up and said, look at these assholes. That's how far apart from the anti-war movement I was. In Biden's words, the war had just been a tragic mistake based on a faulty premise. In many ways, we are so back in the 60s, baby. It might as well be 1968, okay? You got the DNC in Chicago. You got the same vibes overall against the anti-war movement. And we got Jim Crow Joe leading the helm. Maybe we have made America truly great again. Music ain't as good, true. And there is nowhere near enough like radical black liberation groups that are all Maoist and armed to the goddamn teeth. And of course, no 60s USSR to counterbalance and offer material support to revolutionary action globally. What are you biting? Is that edible? Huh? Is that edible? Is that edible? Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Anyway, at least he's consistent.
It's simply wrong. There's no place for racism in America. It's all wrong. It's un-American. I understand people have strong feelings and deep convictions.
I'm not sponsored by Hamas. I'm sponsored by the top of the hour ad break, dude. I'm sponsored by you and others like you, who at the top of the hour come in here and they're like, oh, man, I don't want to see a 3-minute ad break. Got to do what I have to and subscribe for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting my Amazon Prime account to my Twitch account. In May 4th, 1970, Nixon blames Vietnam War student protests for police brutality leading up to 4 student deaths, stating, when dissent turns to violence, it invites tragedy. May 2nd, 2024, Biden blames anti-war college protests for police brutality and violent attacks by pro-Israel nationalists, stating, dissent must never lead to disorder. History might not always repeat, but it often rhymes. But in this circumstance, in particular, history also repeats. Like literally, it is repeating. It's not even a joke. History is straight up repeating right now. It's not even rhyming. It's repeating. He's woke Nixon. Excuse me. Are you talking about base Maoist third world as Nixon? He ain't nowhere near as woke as Nixon on China. You better stop it now.
In America, we respect the right and protect the right for them to express that. But it doesn't mean anything goes.
It's just funny because he was alive back then. You know what I mean? He's so old. He was there and old enough to give a quote. You know what I mean? Like he was old enough to be like, yeah, these these peaceful protesters, Jack, they're pinkos. I hate them. Oh, it's so funny.
It needs to be done without violence, without destruction, without hate, and within the law. You know, make no mistake.
Yeah. Remember when he was running and he would just like lie every week? Wait, this was from the Howard Stern interview? Oh my God, he's so back. This literally was remember when he was like, yeah, Jack, I went to meet Nelson Mandela and I was arrested. They killed me. What is this? This right here is why people don't trust the media. Right here. No, the president didn't post a picture of a notepad on X reading, I'm stroking my shit right now. What? What the bro, why is that a Snopes article? I will never look at another Snopes or PolitiFact article ever again. They're lying to us. He definitely did do that shit.
As president, I will always defend free speech. And I will always be just as strong in standing up for the rule of law. That's my responsibility to you, the American.
He didn't just say, I'm stroking my shit right now. He said, I got oil on my shit. I'm stroking it ferociously. That's what he said. Yeah, he wrote all of that.
People, my obligation to the Constitution. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, have the protests forced you to reconsider any of the policies with regard to the region?
No. Thank you.
Mr. President, do you think the National Guard should intervene?
No.
Do you agree with what the students are calling for?
Mr. President, the former president said.
All right, President Biden giving some comments about the unrest we've seen on college campuses, talking about how these protests bring an odds to important American principles. One, of course, the right of free speech to demonstrate peacefully, and the other one, of course, the right of students to feel safe and secure.
Wait. Yeah, one, a fundamental American value. Two, some shit we made up to violently suppress that fundamental American value. I love that. He's like, yeah, one fundamental American value enshrined to the Constitution, perhaps the most important one. The second, just some shit we made up to kill the people exercising that.
Secure in an academic establishment. He did, on his way out of the room, also say that he didn't think the National Guard should be dispatched to college campuses, which, of course, has been going on in Texas, for one, as well as other law enforcement agencies in other states. Let's talk a bit about this before we go back to the Trump trial. Dana Bash, I know that there has been criticism of President Biden for waiting until today, quite late in all of this, to give a statement. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, we have heard from his spokespeople yesterday at the White House podium and the deputy press secretary before that, since the unrest really started. But there have been calls, not just from his political opponents, but from his political supporters, to go out and to say something that gives clarity and a very solid argument for what is okay and what is not okay. And it's hard to imagine that anybody heard that and didn't hear a very, very clear argument that, as you said, Jake, you can be somebody who opposes any policy, and you should have the right. That is a fundamental right in the United States of America.
Dude, this is such a funny, come on, dude. They're literally showing just the direct, definitional, clear-cut violation of the rights that they claim to care about. Like, the timing of the rubber bullet being fired in the background is hilarious. Like, you're dude, what's up with our parents? Well, like, I mean, my parents are Turkish, so it's different, obviously. They don't fuck with this shit at all. Like, they are very much pro-Palestine, okay? But it is, like, how are you like an American parent, you know, over the age of like 50, and you're watching this and not going like, the what do you mean? Like, you're saying you care about free speech while I'm watching the opposite happening, and you're seemingly justifying it. Like, what's that about?
But you can't intimidate. You can't do anything to stop people from going to classes or from feeling unsafe. And it is complicated. It is something that is steeped in nuance, but it's also something that a leader can and should, and I think probably in this case did, be.
Yeah, okay, Dana Fash. Obviously, you like what he had to say. We saw your dumbass coverage.
Able to clarify and make easier to understand for the American people. That's what a leader is supposed to do.
And let's also be clear, we went way past nuance with the violence that we've seen the last 2 days. I mean, and that is, I think, the distinction that President Biden was trying to make.
Yeah, those things are bad. And it's great that they aren't happening. Yeah, those things are bad. A violent suppression of free speech would be really bad and unconscionable, which is why I'm saying that the president, the president capitulating to such anti-democratic interests from a select few rich people and I guess like people that pay not tuition, but people that donate to the college campuses, their demands have been met. And my own demands as Dana Bash has been met. And I think that that's great, actually, even though it goes against what I was just saying earlier about the free speech thing, which was something that is a fundamental value.
I mean, breaking into the building at Columbia, the images that we saw out of UCLA, we were just showing some of them on the screens here. There have been all these conversations about these very, in many cases, terrible signs and messages that have been on these college campuses in terms of anti-Semitism. But the escalation in recent days, I think, is clearly what motivated the president to come out now, even after, I will say, every morning I have gotten up looking at the previous day. What did the president say about this? Because I've been waking up and covering at 5 in the morning these protests breaking out on these college campuses. And the answer has always been, until this afternoon, well, no, here's some paper, here's some off-camera comments from the administration. Clearly, they felt like they needed to finally say something. And I think you could really hear, you know, for President Biden, and Dana, you were talking about this as we listened to him, you could hear the conviction in his voice in this speech. Yep.
So when you were doing your show this morning, Casey, 5 a.m. East Coast time is 2 a.m. Pacific.
You could really hear it. You could really hear the conviction coming from Joe Brandon when he was like, "We should kill the students." When he said dissent must not lead to disorder, bro, that is like that is George Orwell. Okay, I mean, I'm sorry, that is such a. I feel like that's a bar directly ripped from 1984. Dissent must not lead to disorder. I feel like this is what villains say when they're trying to stop civil liberties from and civil movements from happening. Yeah, George Foreman, 1998.
Pacific time, and it was at 1 a.m. Pacific time, I believe, that law enforcement went into the encampment at the campus of UCLA in Los Angeles to clear out the encampment there, which obviously is generally not a smooth and easy process. Josh Campbell is there, our law enforcement correspondent and a former FBI official.
Oh my God, we brought our resident bootlicker on to talk about how wonderful the cops were and how restrained they were, and then I suspect he's going to talk about the guy how nasty the ground is now because of the students and not because of the cops that beat the shit out of them.
Looking at well, that does not look ready for graduation. I'll just say that, Josh Campbell.
No, it certainly doesn't. And, you know, after that clash that we saw last night with law enforcement here ultimately deciding that it was time to go in, they did this in steps. They issued an unlawful assembly order and then asked this crowd to disperse, and then they went in. The California Highway Patrol, there were some skirmishes. We talked to some of the officers inside who said that they had things that were thrown at them. I saw one officer who was covered in the powder from a fire extinguisher, but no injuries being reported at this point. We are learning, and I'll tell you as we kind of zoom in about what's left here. You can see behind me, there were 250 protesters approximately in this camp. That's what the CHP tells us. They brought in 250 officers of their own. So essentially one officer for one protester, bringing all of those individuals out. We are told that 132 of those protesters were taken into placed under arrest. We're waiting to see what those charges actually are. Now, overnight, we started to get a sense that this was about to go down because late yesterday, And this gets to, what the president's point about lawful versus unlawful. The university itself, up to the point of last night, didn't ask the police to come in and actually clear this camp. But that all changed. We started seeing resources come in. We saw the FBI field office, which is about a mile from here, essentially turn into a staging point for dozens and dozens of law enforcement officers. Multiple prisoner buses were brought in. And as you mentioned, Jake, just around 1 a.m. time, or a little earlier than that, but that was the time when they actually made entry into the actual camp itself. Going in, conducting those arrests. Right now, it is really quiet. What you're seeing, I don't know if you can see in the background there, but a line of LAPD officers just showed up along with private security for the university here and essentially did a complete sweep. There were a few protesters that were still milling about. There was a standoff of sorts early this morning between the CHP and protesters on that perimeter. Then the CHP just left, but now the officers are back. They're clearing that camp. The university tells us that this is the beginning of the cleanup process after a very, very tense several days here, Jake.
Yes, and that's usually, I should note, a beautiful, spotless campus in Los Angeles, not what it looks like right there.
Did you cover this genocide gatekeeping? No. Isn't this just fascism? Yes. What toys were you playing with? My little plushy pigs. Our neurodivergent king.
There and then.
Well, I was having fun. What do you mean? What's your response to people saying that the arrests are for people that don't go to the collage? It's not true. This is it. Destroying property is not a peaceful protest. It's against the law. Joseph Robinette Biden. Don't scroll down. No, I won't. Oh, yeah. Manhattan DA says that a gun was fired. An officer fired a gun during Columbia University confrontation. Officers summoned riot gear entered the campus. No one was injured. The shooting was first reported by a news outlet of the city and confirmed by Manhattan DA's Alvin Bragg's office. I mean, dude, that's why the other cop was texting. Bernie Sanders, this may be Biden's Vietnam. We're skipping all this shit. We're done. We're doing some fun shit finally, okay? Yeah, but that's why the cop was texting. We thought we shot someone. Oh, dude, here. This is awesome. Before we get to Kendrick.
Chants of the pro-Palestinian rioters on campuses are calls for Israel's destruction. We always knew that Hamas hides in schools. We just didn't realize that it's not only schools in Gaza, it's also Harvard, Columbia, and many elite universities. Chants of the pro-Palestinian.
Why have you made your cam so large on stream? Wait, is it that large? I don't get it. That's right. It's Hamas. It's Hamas. Scuba bipartisan group of senators held a confidential virtual meeting Wednesday with senior officials at the International Criminal Court to express concern about the possible arrest warrants against Israeli leaders. Fuck yeah, dude. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, Senator John Fetterman agrees with Ron DeSantis, and as a member of the Senate, Ag Dems, he's decided that lab-grown meat should be banned, which is so stupid. And I hate these dumb animals. Okay, lab-grown meat should not be banned at all. It is literally good for the environment. The only reason why you would be against developments in this field is because you are deeply in the pocket of the agricultural producers, specifically on the meat and poultry side, and that's it. It's ironic because like all of our meat is technically kind of lab-grown meat anyway. I hate this shit. Do they think lab-grown meat is some lib shit? Bro, they think anything is lib shit. This is akin to the George W. Bush era conversation about stem cell research that greatly set back American research on the field. And people had to go to like Germany to be able to get like stem cell procedures done. So annoying. So dumb, so anti-science, suck my dick, fuck you, okay? I'm in the lab growing my meat. Netanyahu getting invited to the States? Oh my God, I hope they arrest him. To address Congress? Oh my God, imagine he comes to America and we arrest his ass. Dude, that'd be so sick. It's not going to happen, but let a boy dream. You know what I mean? Let a boy dream.
Mr. President, what song are you listening to?
Folks, America, I tell you what, you see Donald Trump, you see Pizza Hut.
No, what song?
Song I'm listening to, I'm listening to my favorite song since I was a little boy, folks. It's called Two Wood Blocks Click Clack.
Two wood blocks click clack?
I said clickety click clack. We are the blessed clickety guy. I said, take care, America.
That's not a door, Mr. President.
Delaware.
Delaware. Oh, Jesus Christ. Look at your body. You've been eating diseased American meat your entire life, and you have two trapezoidal tits that are facing in opposite directions every time you wear something smaller than a quintuple XXL. It looks like you're smuggling logs of bologna. Senator Dobag has something to say about Burger King's Impossible Burger. I only eat real food. That's why I'm so healthy that I nearly dropped dead at age 50. Jesus Christ. Felix got the smoke for Feder Wap. Anyway. Okay.